So here's a good example of a 2-minute greenware check-in for a teapot. Some things that I would like to point out that I'm going to do is, number one, I'm going to review my notes before I start so that when I come up for the presentation that I don't have to read my questions to get the answers, and I'll simply be able to paraphrase what I see as I go up for the greenware check-in. The other thing I'm going to do is take a second to prepare and read it over before I start the timer. Okay? So now I'll start the timer. As far as requirements for this teapot, I think that I fulfilled all of the requirements except for the fact that I didn't pull a handle. And the reason I didn't pull a handle is that I forgot that that was one of the requirements, and so I learned that I really should just use my notes and go back to my plan so that I know that I'm fulfilling the requirements. For time management, what I did is I made the body of the teapot first using the press mold, and then I made the spout and the handle. But the last thing I did was make the foot, and I realized that that probably was a mistake because I had to attach the foot then when it was plastic. I didn't give it enough time to dry out, and so it kind of got squashed and I lost a little bit of form and function because I didn't plan that just right. So in terms of time management, if I were to do this again, I think I would make the foot first so that it could dry, then attach that and make the handle and the spout. As far as creativity, I really did actually spend a lot of time investigating pattern and the things that I'd like to put on here outside of class, which allowed me to use my class time for the actual building process, the fact that I thought of that outside of class. And I really did plan it quite carefully before I started. The thing that I learned in terms of time management is that I not only need to do that, but I need to plan the order of putting things on, and that the stages are really important, that I have to let them dry. As far as construction techniques, there's no cracking or breaking or falling apart. I can see that I know how to score, slip, and loop. The incising, though, I think was done when it was too soft because these are kind of sharp. So I think that the surface could use some work. So I didn't really use the proper tools at the proper stage. I used the proper tool because I used the wood tool, but it was too soft. And then even down here, I used the pin tool, which is the improper tool. So I probably should have stuck with the wood tool. As far as form and function goes, the foot does not function as it should because it kind of rocks on the table. The lid does sit properly on the top, how it should, without falling in. The knob is definitely large enough for me to grab a hold of, and I even think it's a focal point of my design, so it's not an afterthought. The only thing is with the lid is I wish I would have made a mark so that I would have known like how to put it back on, because it's difficult for me to figure out how to put it back each time. The spout, the hole needs to be a little bit bigger to let the tea flow through, so I wish I would have cut it a little smaller. But it's definitely high enough so it's higher than the lid, so I know I can fill this entire teapot with water. And then the handle, although I didn't pull it, it's big enough for me to slide my hands through. I just don't think it's comfortable. It's a little bit sharp, so I wish I would have smoothed out some of these rough spots on there.